You're watching Women of Strength TV with a purpose-driven woman who has a yearning deep in her soul to serve the world. Presented to you by Ange Wilcock, creator of Evolutionary Model of Well-Being, mindfulness-based storytelling, and the Raw Woman Project, a businesswoman on a mission for every human on the earth to feel enough.
So welcome again to another episode of Woman of Strength. And today my guest, yet another wonderful and amazing guest, is Ionela Spinu. I hope I've got that correct, Ionela, as I spelled it, if I pronounced it right. I'm not great if you go back and look at all these podcasts and Women of Strength TV, you'll find that I never pronounce women's names right. But the whole purpose of this is to be authentic and be ourselves, so we don't do retakes. So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I'll just tell our audience a little bit about you. So you're a lifestyle coach and a certified nutritionist, and you've run several online challenges where you've brought communities together, helping women stay healthy. And you also teach bootcamp classes, practice yoga, and love all things health, wealth, mindfulness, and well-being. And in the process of doing all this, you've discovered that you actually love empowering and inspiring other women, and that most women always felt like they were never enough. That is so true. And having gone through this yourself, me too, it was a catalyst for creating your online courses. Be yourself and own it, flaws and all. And so your life is guided by many principles, and you believe that the greatest gift that we all have as a human being is the ability to learn and constantly reinvent ourselves, educating ourselves, rebuilding ourselves, and always thinking of ourselves as a work in progress from all aspects of emotional, physical, spiritual, and the most powerful gift to yourself. Experiencing life and constantly trying to be the best parts of you will bring the fulfillment you seek. And how wonderful that is. Thank you so much. And we'll go into more about what you do. But to start with, I just want to ask you the question around your journey into being a woman of strength. Was there anything that you can look back on in your life story where you felt that was the pinnacle? This is when I became that strong woman.
Where do I start? I guess it's just for the last few years, maybe the last 3 or 4 years. I kind of look back, I'm now like in my, reach my 30s.
Yeah.
In my early 20s, I was always like, nothing is ever good enough. You're never good enough and all this. And I kind of reached that point like a few years ago when I was thinking like, hang on a minute, like if I'm not happy now, I'm sure as hell not going to be happy in the next coming year. So if I don't work at these things now, like I'm never going to be happy. I was thinking, maybe I'll reach my 50s or my 60s and I'll realize that I've wasted half of my life, worrying about things that don't matter. So probably I would say like 3 or 4 years ago, when I kind of started on this like self-development journey, because I realized when I was 14, I had this, so I'm from Romania, from a really small, like southeast city in Romania. And I always said like when I was 14 that I would go on to do my own business. I would move to the capital city and then I would live abroad. And then when I came to the UK, this was when I was like 22, 23, I kind of lost that childlike naivety. So then like 3 or 4 years ago, it struck me that, okay, like I need to regain this childlike naivety. I need to bring it back. And this is how it all started. And just started to ask myself questions like, what do I really want to do? Like, what makes me happy? Why do I always do things? Like, I used to say yes to everything. And like, don't get me wrong, it's great to say yes to things that light you up. But if it doesn't light you up, just don't do it. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and that's so true. I think as women, when we go through life, we look at different milestones. I remember when I was like 20, and an auntie of mine was 10 years older than me, and I got on incredibly well with her, and she was 30, and I thought, you know, by the time I'm 30, I'm going to know all I need to know. And then when I reached 30, I was like, well, by the time I'm 50, I would have learned all the lessons that life has to show me. And, you know, and I'm going to know so much, and my life is going to be settled and happy. And, you know, now I'm 53 and I'm still learning and growing, and I'm happy, but I'm in that space of, like you said, learning and growing. So, yeah, it's great. So encouraging every woman at whatever stage they are in their life, if they're not happy, look at what do I need to do differently. Don't wait until you're a certain age and think, oh, I'll know it then, because it doesn't happen, does it? No.
And I think we also have like so many expectations, and it's also like kind of, you know, society, imposed by society. We've just like used to label everyone, oh, what do you do? And then like, okay, just say a word, like describe it, what do you do? I do a lot of things. I can't just, that's, I think this is one of the reasons I actually hate job titles as well, because I just like, they don't define who you are and what you do. And as a woman, especially if you are a mom as well, like you do so many things. Like, how do you put that in just a couple of words?
Yeah, and it's true. And being a woman in business and being authentic, you know, being that purpose-driven woman in business, sometimes the business models that we're taught don't always work or don't support us, because, you know, when you've got to do your elevator pitch, or your, you know, who are you, what do you do, and you script this amazing couple of sentences, and then you speak it, and women look at you, especially your ideal client who you want to work with, look at you as much as say, what's that, what do you do? And I've thrown away all of that stuff, much to the disgust of probably, you know, my business coach and that out there, but I'm just myself. I say something different every time I engage with someone, because for me that's about being authentic, being yourself, you know. Otherwise it just feels like a script. I mean, how do you feel like when you do business, or you're talking to a woman? Because like me, you know, yours is all about working with women so that they do feel enough. What sort of conversations do you have with them?
I'm still like, so I'm also doing my full-time job at the moment. So like now I'm in the process of transitioning. So it's very like interesting, because some people, like, you know, some women, the ones that are probably like my ideal customer, and they're like very open about all this, they go like, oh my God, this is great, this is what I needed and stuff. Then when and I'm kind of, whenever I was going to networking events as well, like mainly male dominated as it is business. So then sometimes people will look at you like really funny, like, what is it that you do exactly? But I was actually like, for the last few months, I would say, and this is again like, it's coming back to when you have more confidence, and when you tell people what do you do, like what you do with like a lot of confidence, and you just know that, okay, you don't care whatever they think. Oh, what is that? Be yourself and own it. Oh my God, like, what is this course like? And I was actually talking to a bunch of men about this, and they were like, the reactions like really surprised me. They're like, oh my God, this is amazing, and like so great that you're doing this. And I was like, oh really? Do you think so? But sometimes I just get mixed reactions, and like, I find it especially with, and even like with some women who are not very open to all this like self-development and stuff, it's sometimes like, oh, okay, yeah, that's nice, maybe I can look into it one day, or, you know, it's like, okay, yeah, of course.
And it is all about being ready, isn't it? I think, you know, we're all at different stages in our life, and we're all at different stages of taking responsibility for our lives. And that's the joy of being a woman, because I think when you mix with like-minded women, you do start looking at your own life and saying, you know, there's parts of my life that I actually want to improve, or I want it to be different. There's people that I mix with that I really don't want to be with, but I don't know how to say no. What sort of advice would you give women that are in those sort of situations?
I would say just like if you look at it, I know like this is one of the things I actually struggled with the most, because I just love making people happy, and sometimes I would just put other people's happiness before my own, because I think like I like helping people and stuff, and then I realized like, hang on a minute, it's good to be selfish and not in a bad way. Just think about the things that light you up. And actually I like this guy called Derek Sivers, and I was listening to a podcast of his a few months ago, and he said something like, if it doesn't light you up, if it's not a hell yeah, like straight away, just say. And I would tell other women it's okay to say no, even after you said yes. And saying no will create more space for you, and will create more space to do the things that actually matter to you. And I think also saying no and giving yourself some space, like time for yourself, it's going to open a lot of opportunities, because I also think we're quite scared to spend time on our own, because we're scared to deal with what's coming up and stuff like that. But I always like give women this advice, like just take a piece of paper, like take a journal in the morning. What do you feel like? Do you feel scared? Do you feel upset? Do you feel anxious? Just write it down, whatever it is. Because if you don't take it out, if you don't find a platform or a venue or a way to release all those worries, all the stress, it's not gonna like it's not gonna go away. And it's the same with like, I think sometimes we're afraid of saying no because people are gonna judge us as well. So it's just, I would say, just let go and do what makes you happy, because in a few years time, if everything, like none of these things that matter now will matter in a few years time, like none of like what my aunt thought or what my friend thought, that is not actually a friend, or
it's so true. What we believe matters today, like you said, even 6 to 8 months or a year down the line, it doesn't really matter. It's insignificant in our life at that point, isn't it? And I love you're saying about don't worry about saying no. And I always say to women, if you struggle saying no, because it does take practice, because we've spent all our lives, regardless of how old we are, we've spent all our lives saying yes, yes, yes. And so if you really struggle to say no, when someone asks you something, you just go, yes, of course I can. I can do that next Friday at 2 o'clock. Or yes, of course, I would love to come to your house. This week I'm doing something, but next week I could come. And so you get used to saying yes, but actually you're saying no, I can't, and it doesn't feel so hard. And the more you practice that, you end up saying, oh no, sorry, I can't do that this week, but I'd love to do it next week. So
and people, and I use that technique as well, like just saying, I'm a bit busy at the moment. Like when I did the course, I actually had to stop seeing my friends literally, because I was using the weekends to record everything, and no one got upset. Everyone understood. Okay, like, and people, I think like, in general, people that matter will always understand, and they will never judge you. And the rest of them who don't understand and who judge you, they don't matter. So that's one way I look at it. So
yes, absolutely. And so what other challenges have you had for you in your life? So you moved from Romania to England. That must be a very, very different way of living. I mean, I'm from England originally. I live in New Zealand now. I was originally from England, and I know that Eastern Europe is very different to living in the UK. So what were some of your challenges? Because I had challenge just transitioning from England to New Zealand, thinking it will be quite easy, but it isn't, is it? It's not easy to transition from one country and culture to another. So what were your challenges?
I think my first one actually started when I moved from my hometown as well, moving to the big city. That I kind of had like, I changed, and in 2 weeks when my parents came to see me, my mom actually didn't recognize me because I kind of changed everything.
Oh wow.
thing and stuff like that, because I realized, okay, like I need to be on my feet all the time. So like, I remember I went to pick them up and mom almost didn't recognize me. And she was like, oh my God, what have you done? So that was a bit like even moving from my hometown to Bucharest was challenging, because it was like a completely different like atmosphere, I guess, and people would judge. You know how it is in capital city, you always judge people that are from other like cities because of a different accent or whatever.
Yeah.
And then when I moved to the UK, actually came to do my master's, and it was really like, looking back now, I think the first 2 years I was in depression because most of my friends were in, like all my friends were in Romania. I came on my own. I didn't know anyone. I was waitressing whilst doing my, like, going to my classes as well. So I was sleep deprived most of the time because I was working nights in the restaurant, like, well, from afternoons and stuff, and just coming home at 12 a.m. and then waking up at 6 a.m. the next day to go to class. So that was challenging as well, because I had to find a way to support myself. And I think also people would always be like, oh, so where are you from? The first question, where are you from? And you have an accent. And this was like, oh, you have an accent, oh, you have an accent. And at one point I was like, oh my God, so do you. You have an accent as well, but our accents are different. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, and a little bit, so I think the most difficult thing was not having my friends around, my friends and my family around. So that was probably the most difficult thing. But after a couple of years, after 2 years, I've met a lot of people. Like I knew so many people, but it's very hard. It was very hard for me back then to be very open and vulnerable, because I used to see that as a weakness, whereas now I see that as a strength, and it's brave to be vulnerable. Yeah. So I guess I struggled more because I was like that. I was so closed up, and I just, from the outside, everyone thought that I have no worries in the world, that everything is great, and but
we're great at that, aren't we? We're really women. We're great at that. We give this impression that we're superwoman. Yeah.
How are you today? I'm fine. You know that no one else will actually be able to deal with your response of not being fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I'm super grateful to having the support, like the group of friends that I have in Romania. I'm friends with them to this day, and I've been here for over 8.5 years. They've been really, really supportive. And then of course I met I made new friends in here. But I guess it was it's just like the differences. Like I feel like sometimes, you know how it is in the UK, people will just ask, oh, hi, you're right, but they don't actually wait for an answer. It's just a way of saying hi, so you can't actually, it's like, yes, I'm good, okay, just carrying on. But yeah, no, like now it definitely feels like home, but
So you talked about, vulnerability being a strength, and it absolutely is. But, sometimes we've grown up as women believing that being vulnerable is weakness, that we're showing our weakest side. And we're not. We're showing our feminine, our emotional side that keeps us balanced, isn't it? So when did you realize that being vulnerable was a strength? Because, if you've grown up all your life believing that it's something that's a weakness, what point was there something that happened that you said, actually putting myself in that vulnerable position is making me strong?
So this was again like probably 4 years ago. I came across Brene Brown, the power of vulnerability, her TED Talk.
Yeah.
So I listened to that and I was like, oh my God, like, yes. How did I miss this all my life? And then I was like, okay, I need to apply this. And I was finding it very difficult to do because you're just so used to not being open and not sharing things. And I would be very open to my close friends, but I'm a very private person, I would say, as well. So I don't like going around and just telling everyone, hey, I have this issue and I have that issue. And then I realized that maybe like just opening up can help other people. And then working with women as well, I realized that, yeah, no, it's very important to open up. And in my like online community, I always told people like, you know, we're here, it's a safe place, we're friends, let's just share whatever we're going through, because I'm pretty sure whatever I'm going through, you've gone through, someone else has gone through. You might have some words of advice, or, and I've actually realized even like in relationships, you know, romantic relationships or relationships with your friends and with your family, it's very important to be vulnerable and to be open. Yeah, the risk you might get hurt, but guess what, you will get hurt anyway, so you might as well, you know, you might as well be vulnerable, be open, be authentic, and then you just know that you have nothing to regret. So and the Gifts of Imperfection as well has helped a lot, also by Brené Brown. Because I'm a recovering perfectionist.
I think we all are. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, and she's amazing. I mean, I share a lot of her work with my clients because she is amazing. And what she did, I believe, for women, you know, those years ago when she did a TED talk, was she allowed us to be vulnerable. It was like there was something for some, I mean, not all women, because, you know, there's a lot of women out there that are streets ahead of where we are in terms of personal growth. But certainly I felt for me, it was like she'd given me permission to be vulnerable. She, you know, she put herself in that space and she was so vulnerable. And when she tells her story, what I love about her is she tells a story and it's just raw. She's just real. She's just, you know, she's a very educated woman. But even today, she says she still struggles, you know, with imperfection. For her, it's still about it being perfect. And, you know, and she's just being honest. And I think that's what I love about her. That's what I love about women like her, is that she's just being an honest woman. She's saying, you know, some days life is crap and I have a crap day, and other days life is amazing, and it's all about balance. So, yeah.
And I guess, like, yeah, that's all it is, right? We just appreciate and we admire, respect, and then you can't help but love people who are just authentic and raw and just say it how it is, really.
Yeah, because there's so many, and I found that there's so many women out there doing what we do who aren't authentic. You know, they're showing up, and they do have a belief that they are. I'm not saying that they're being false or anything like that. It's just that their authenticity shows up differently, because you can see the fear behind them. And that's the whole purpose of doing the Woman of Strength, you know, TV and podcast, because it's about, well, this is us, this is who we are women in business, but we've got another life behind that business. You know, we might have a shiny website and we might have some amazing tools and amazing courses that you can do, and they really do make a difference in your life. But we also are still growing, so we're not saying we've got it right, and as we learn, we will share what we're learning with you. And that's just what I love about it. And yeah, so and I found that all the women that want to be interviewed for the podcast and Women of Strength TV are women like, you know, yourself, who really want to make a difference in the world, and they are making a difference, but they connect to being authentic. You know, some days, like you know, you're in your PJs, there's nothing wrong with that. And everyone that I've interviewed, they've either been in their lounge or their bedrooms or wherever. No one's been in this amazing studio, which is what we see with some awesome women out there doing amazing stuff, that they've got this polished, lovely studio. But the reality is, we're all at different stages in our business, and we don't necessarily have all those resources available to us. But that shouldn't stop us getting out there. You know, we've got such a gift to give. So, yeah.
Sometimes we're on different time zones.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're on the other side of the world, aren't we? You know, you're moving towards your bedtime and I'm just starting my day off. So, and I'm talking to your future self because I'm half a day ahead of you. So, yeah. So talking about wonderful gifts, where can these amazing women that will be listening and watching us today, how can they get in touch with you? Where will they find you?
So you can reach me on my contact page on my website, getlifestylegems.com. Then on my Instagram at getlifestylegems.com, or my Facebook page where I'm a bit more active in there. I kind of like just, you have this pressure of being on social media all the time, and then I've just realized, okay, I don't have time right now to do this. Who am I kidding? I'm not gonna add the extra pressure on myself. So I'm mainly sticking to Instagram and to my blog and just posting there. And and I've finished running the course as well as the last month. And that took all my time basically. So I haven't been as active as I should have been on social media, but trying to let go of that as well, like don't add any extra pressure on
Again, we're really good at that too, aren't we? I haven't got everything quite right, so I can't be out there doing what I want to do. Let the world see my imperfections. But again, thank you for your honesty, because I'm like that too. It's like I'm loving doing what I'm doing, and I'm fairly organized, but I'm not as organized as I would like to be. But I'm not beating myself up about it. I get days where I'm just not feeling great at all, and I just let people know today is not a good day to do an interview. And that's it. We're just being authentic. We're being ourselves. So I love that. So thank you so much for taking the time out to speak to us. And if there's any, excuse me, is there any little gem that you'd like to leave our wonderful women with today?
I would just like to say, just let go. Let go. Let go of all those, all that pressure, all those things that you think you need to do, or whatever it is that, it's stressing you. Or just take a moment, take a deep breath, and let go, and have no expectations, and just be the best version of yourself. Work on towards being the best version of yourself.
Great. Thank you very, very much. I mean, that's a great note to end this on. Just let go. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Angie. It was great chatting to you. And I hope this is going to be useful to your listeners.
Thank you.
Remain real, authentic, and whole. Be yourself and continue to follow your dreams. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time on Woman of Strength TV.